here is Peter Ducey of Fox News, just coming off of his own case of COVID. He has returned into the White House press pool to further the ignorance that we hear a lot of people talk about. You're starting to hear people say that if you state that you should continue with practices outside of being vaccinated to inhibit your ability to get COVID, then they are claiming that you are anti-vaxx. The fact is that, and we're going to be talking to an epidemiologist on the program tomorrow, and I'm sure they're going to echo this, but there's a lot of data now that is starting to come out where it's quite clear that what the vaccine is doing is it is lessening the impact of COVID when you get it. And what this does is it takes us a step closer to turning this from a pandemic into an endemic. And, different people have different benchmarks. Most, some people say we will know that the pandemic is over when the number of deaths that we have in this country from COVID is akin to what we estimate the number of deaths that we have from the flu, which are about 88 a day, more or less. Right now we're at 1,400. But it is very hard to die from COVID right now if you have been vaccinated and boosted. But there's people out there who pretend that there is not different variants to COVID, that the relationship between vaccination and COVID is supposed to be immutable. Otherwise, the science is not real. And this is what their game is. And they play it from Steve Ducey on to a whole host of Substackers. But here's Steve Ducey with Jen Psaki trying to make this point. Peter.
That's
sorry.
Confusing, yeah.
Steve's son.
And I understand that the science says that vaccines prevent death. But I'm triple vaxxed, still got COVID. You're triple vaxxed, still got COVID. Why is the president still referring to this as a pandemic of the unvaccinated?
Well, I think, Peter, there's a significant difference between, and you just experienced this, and not to expose your public health experience, but I can speak to mine as well. I had been triple vaxxed. I had minor symptoms. There is a huge difference between that and being unvaccinated. You are 17 times more likely to go to the hospital if you're not vaccinated, 20 times more likely to die. And those are significant, serious statistics. So yes, the impact for people who are unvaccinated is far more dire than those who are vaccinated.
Will the president update his language at some time to be more reflective of the fact that people who are triple vaccinated are catching and spreading COVID?
I think the president has said, as have we a number of times, that there will be breakthrough cases. There will be people who get COVID here at different media organizations, at companies around the world, around the country, who have been vaccinated. But there is a significant difference between being hospitalized or dying and being vaccinated with more mild symptoms.
And then
They're the language police. Say radical Islamic terrorism. Don't say pandemic of the unvaccinated. Like, who truly cares?
I mean, the reason Biden's saying the pandemic of the unvaccinated is because he's basically giving them what they want. We're just going to, like you said, just rely solely on the vaccine and not do any sort of measures to, stop a surge.
It is, I guess, because the American public is so wise and sensitive to the use of words that there's a lot of people out there going like, wait a second, is this a pandemic versus endemic or an outbreak or an epidemic? The bottom line is it's far more dangerous for you to exist in this environment today without being vaccinated than not. And it's not like it's confusing people like this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. Well, I mean, I don't even know what reaction Ducey thinks that people are going to have when they hear
want to
this.
get out of this. They want to find a way out of the obvious fact pattern and be like, libs, see, I still got it. But like, one, as Psaki pointed out, I mean, there's a difference between getting a paper cut and then getting your throat slit. There's a bit of a difference there. If you get COVID and you're vaccinated, you're gonna much more likely to have mild symptoms than to go to the hospital and die. And also, evidence is suggesting that you are less likely to even get COVID if you are vaccinated. Yes, there are breakthrough infections, but those instances don't disprove the countless other instances of people like myself getting exposed, when I had a close contact and I was boosted and I did not get COVID. I mean, there are a lot of other instances. It's just, they're just trying to poke holes in infallible and obvious logic.
Well, especially when the real problem with that we've decided, like when the rubber hits the road, is when hospitals start getting overflowed, and that's why vaccines are so important.
Exactly. It really is. It's just unbelievable to me that people can walk through life, like a guy like Ducey can walk through life and go like, I am going to add to the confusion about this. Yeah. And add something to the idea that people should not get vaccinated. Yeah. The level of desperation for those people who are vaccine deniers. And that doesn't mean that they won't take the vaccines themselves. It means that they are profiting. They are profiting in some fashion. Either it's enhancing their careers or making them more money directly, or enhancing their celebrity, or ingratiating them with a section of their audience to somehow, prove this point that there is a chance, maybe it's a 50% chance, maybe it's a 60% chance, maybe it's a 70% chance, maybe it's a 30% chance or a 40% chance that if you have gotten 3 vaccinations, that you can still get COVID. Even though we know overwhelmingly, like we've all said here, that it greatly inhibits your ability to die or get seriously sick or hospitalized from it. They're so addicted. Addicted is the wrong word. They're so incentivized by their own greed to satiate that part of their audience that are vaccine skeptics, or want to believe even though they've gotten even vaccinated themselves.
It's lucrative too for them to do that. I mean, less so, yes, on Fox News, but all those people we've talked about before, Brett Weinstein and this story came out when I was on vacation, but Alex Jones, how much money? Well, maybe that wasn't COVID stuff, but he made how much money on his store with all of his nonsense silver remedies or whatever.
Yeah, well,
it came out
you
in
need to take
court documents like over 100 million or something insane.